the word like marketing was like cringy to them because every company has had a bad experience with a marketing, right? But because what I do, I could work from kind of anywhere. I haven't been in Florida since January. So I've been in New York. My team works remote. So I love it.
It's absolutely, I'm doing the same thing. I'm in Bali, not going to go back to Germany anytime soon. It doesn't really matter if you have, right? And
I was just trying to, because I quit my to start this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Nomad CEO. I am here. I'm honored to be here with a new guest. His name is Barion McQueen. And this is also a super inspiring story because as myself, he also went through some really profound, deep shit. Like he also lost a lot of his things during the pandemic, same as I did. And so I'm really happy to have him here on the show. And I wanted to, dive right into the question that I always ask, which is, what was your pivotal moment? What was your transformation? And how did you get to the other side, man?
So like we were talking a little bit beforehand, after you shared your story, I was able to see the parallel. So I owned a marketing agency called the Brand Castle.
Okay.
In the marketing space, every new client that we ever dealt with, the word like marketing was like cringy to them because every company has had a bad experience with a marketing, right? Not giving leads or whatever the issue may be, but the term marketing, everybody at one point or another hired a marketing company, thought it was going to help do something great for their business, and they didn't get any results. So in my space, I had this thing where I would bring clients on, and most marketing companies tie you into a 6 to 12 month commitment. So for me, to be transparent with my clients, I let every client go month to month. So if you wasn't happy in this relationship, next month you can go. I don't have you locked in. So it was good. It helped the clients build trust with me. Like, hey, no other marketing company offered this. Everybody else put you on these long retainers, and everything was good until COVID hit, and that gave everybody an out. So it was just like, oh my gosh, COVID's going on, and I literally was just losing clients back to back. Hey, we're not gonna be able to afford you next month. We don't even know if the doors are going to be open that month. And the marketing budget was always the first budget. And I lost every client but 2 clients out of like 20.
Oh my God. That's tough.
So for me,
that's fucked up.
I quit my job to start this marketing agency. So I'm looking at, I was just like freshly just got married, got the new house and all of these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I tell my wife? I don't know where the next money is coming from.
Did she stick around?
She is still around, man. I'm actually
You're a lucky man then. So yeah. Because there's this saying that if money goes out the window, so does love, right? Usually. So it's often the case that men who lose their shit, they also lose their relationships often. Not always. There's always an exception to the rule, I guess. So I have 2 questions here. First off, to address your situation or what happened, what did you learn from this? What was the lesson to be learned? How did you now that you're here now in 2025, you made it, you're alive, I guess. How did you integrate the situation, the lessons that had to be learned? And also, could you just give us a quick intro? I already told the audience your name, but where you from? A little bit more background about. I think you're from. Are you New York?
I'm in New York now, so I have a house in New York. And I have a house in Florida, so I'm in the New York house right now. So this ties right into the nomad theme because I can go anywhere and work, right? But my name is Barion McQueen. I used to call myself a personal branding expert. And I really got cringy about the word expert. So I started calling myself a visibility strategist, right? My goal is to help people be seen. So that's kind of what I go right now. I own a PR agency right now, Big Reach PR. That's my PR agency. We're based out of Miami, Florida. But because what I do, I could work from kind of anywhere. I haven't been in Florida since January. So I've been in New York. My team works remote. So I love it.
Yeah. It's absolutely, I'm doing the same thing. I'm in Bali, not going to go back to Germany anytime soon. It doesn't really matter if you have a system in place, right? And it seems to me that loss, that it only made you stronger, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, I think for me, I think I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. So during the pandemic, when I could have just kind of been like, oh my gosh, I lost my company, it helped me. I launched a whole nother company during COVID, which was a real estate photography company in the middle of COVID.
Oh,
real estate was booming at the time. So one of my old branding clients, where we used to just create content for his social media, asked me, could I take pictures of a house for him because he lost his real estate photographer. And I was like, bro, I have nothing going on right now. I would love to do it.
It's so funny. We actually, you mentioned that we had things in common. Here's another one. I'm a photographer, and I made myself a name first as a nature photographer. Okay. I had a gallery in Mexico when I had my nanotech startup. I also was doing photography, but more in a artistic sense. Okay. I created right. So I was selling my art, so to speak. But I lost that together with my company, and then when I got back to Germany, and then I said, okay, not going to stay here, going to go and try something new. One of the endeavors that I started was I became a hotel real estate photographer.
Oh my God.
And then I've got plenty of, I did close some bigger clients in Bangkok specifically. That I did some hotels there, from the luxury hotels in Pattaya. I have a client that I did the whole 5-star resort. Yeah, so I've got some experience with that. Also, I've got a client in the Philippines. Did a few hotels there, but I did not like the nature of that job. It destroyed my passion for photography, because it became this very demanding. I changed my time for your money thing that did not have anything to do with my passion for photography, so I quit pretty quickly.
I agree with that. Once you shoot one kitchen, one bathroom, one living room, it's all the same. But what it did for me was it allowed me to create a company that I felt it was COVID proof, right? Because real estate was booming during COVID. It didn't slow down at. So my first year launching that company, we did like 250,000, just me, one person doing 5 shoots a day at around, $300, $400 a shoot. I never seen this kind of money. So for me, this was all only having 10 clients. Like, I just had real estate clients that sold a lot of property. So it kept me busy to the point now I still own the company, but I don't have to go shoot anymore. I just have shooters now go shoot my stuff. I have my editors are remote, and I still own the company today.
It's amazing, man. I'm actually impressed by that. So let me just understand. So you did do the shootings yourself at first?
100%.
So did you also because I was an experienced photographer, but I had to learn a ton of tech,
real estate's way different.
There's this one guy on the internet. I followed his YouTube channel because he's got some really valuable advice on that. But there's like this, for the window pulls, so you get the window light coming in, and it's actually quite difficult to be good at this because you have the lighting and the flash I think it's called...
First shoot, I knew nothing about any of that. And the lady was so happy. Like, I was going in there taking pictures as like I'm a regular photographer, right? I wasn't shooting bracketed. I wasn't using, the flambient method with the flash and...
Flambient, that's the flambient thing.
I wasn't doing any of that in the beginning. And then I started going on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I got to learn a lot. Like, I didn't know this was a 44-hour turnaround. It was just a lot of stuff I learned along the way.
Amazing, man. Yes, that is a rabbit hole by itself. Like, I had to, and I don't like editing, so it was bad. So I outsourced the editing process to a Vietnamese girl. She did a good job, but it just all became too technical, and so it was I didn't see it go anywhere. So it's inspiring. So you are, of course, a very capable entrepreneur, because you still own that company. It's still running. You own your PR company. What else do you do?
I have a studio in Miami called Collab Studios, which is just a regular photography and podcast studio. So we launched.
Oh, you do podcasts too?
Yeah. So I have a podcast called Everyday Game Changers.
Oh,
So we just, man, my wife thinks I'm addicted to starting businesses.
you're a serial entrepreneur.
Serial, man.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm a person, if I put it to paper, I got to at least see it through. Even if I don't stick with it, I got to at least try.
Yes, of course. I love that. I mean, I'm all for. Again, this is the topic of the podcast. The idea of this podcast is to people on it that are not just inspiring, but also share the anecdotes, the personal thing, and the struggles. Because a lot of the times, what I think is happening is that we get these not so authentic personas on social media that I'm living this super nice life on Instagram and I'm such a cool guy. But rarely do we actually talk about the difficult situations that made us capable in the first place to get there, right? So because it's the breakthroughs, I think, are not found in, I don't know, new client or some media appearance. The breakthroughs are found in leaning into the pain that actually required you to make some changes. Because entrepreneurship at its core, the essence of it is, in my opinion at least, is just personal, like self-improvement. That's what it is. It's just you gotta be better than yesterday, right?
Yeah. For me, man, one thing I really did in 2025 at the beginning of this year, I cut a lot of fat that was on my team. A lot of people that was getting paid that wasn't holding their weight. And I just started learning to fire and hire quickly. And now I have a good core of people of like, this went from 10 to 12 person team to now we're down to like 5. But it's the 5 that I trust, that I know we're steering this ship together, and I'm okay with it just being us 5.
Yeah. And it's so true. What you just mentioned is so true. I mean, I did that. This is a mistake almost every entrepreneur does. Like, instead of hiring slowly and firing fast, they do it the opposite. They usually they hire fast, and then it takes them too long because they are somehow attached to, because it's people, right? But it's just not the right approach. So yeah, I guess this also resonates a lot. I mean, there's something weird about lessons to be learned. Sometimes there's just things out there that are unteachable, right? You can tell this, you can say this to people, and they're still gonna fuck up 100%.
My biggest struggle with entrepreneurship and social media is everybody highlights the wins, right? So
yeah,
everybody's social media is one big highlight reel of all the successes and all the good days, and when you had the 20 and the 50K months, but nobody talks about how lonely being an entrepreneur is when you're the guy that's trying to figure it out. These late nights like this, when you just by yourself, it's 10 o'clock at night here in New York. Everybody's sleeping in my house right now, and I'm still grinding, getting on podcasts, getting the message out there, getting the brand out there, and doing everything I need to do, essentially for my family. But the grunt work of being an entrepreneur, nobody sees. So everybody thinks it's easy.
Yeah, nobody cares. Also, until it benefits them, they really don't care. And which is fine, right? It's not just about the attention. It should not, because people. It's another thing that you can, like, entrepreneurs fail at, is like they trying to get attention where haven't really created any value yet, and already wanting to all the attention. Yeah. So that's also very common. So just how old are you? You're still young, right? You're still
39.
You're not even 30. Okay, you look a lot younger than you.
Actually, I'm 39. I still get carded. I finally let these grays grow in, so it gives me a little bit of like, oh, he might be a little bit seasoned, but everybody says I got a baby face. They can't tell.
Yeah, I couldn't tell either. I thought you have maybe 29, 30 or something like that. Yeah, cool, man. So, all right. So I want to dig even deeper now. So since you brought that up, what were your, like, because you didn't really answer it at the beginning. So what was the lessons from those difficult moments? Like, what were the three, let's say, key takeaways from the most difficult, the lowest points in your life?
So when I started the Brand Castle, before I lost it during COVID, for me, we was just a branding agency, right? I had some graphic design experience. So all we did was logos. That was it. You came to us at the beginning of you starting your business, and we just did your logo. helped you with your brand identity. And that was all the company was supposed to do. Because it got so demanding, one of the things that I think I struggled with was I just kept adding services because I was trying to make money, right? So it went from, oh man, that's a beautiful logo. We love the colors, the brand design, but now we need a website. And rather than me telling people, oh, that's not my specialty, I just added that to my website. Like, oh, now we do websites too. So after we get the logo done, then we get the website. And then they're like, oh, the website looks good, but we're not getting no traffic. I'm like, okay. Well, we do SEO too. And I just kept saying yes and yes and yes to everything that after a while, we wasn't no longer a branding agency. We were just a full-blown digital marketing agency that was mediocre because we weren't experts at that. I just kept adding stuff. And I just had these clients, man. And I literally almost just told a client, like, hey, I don't want no more clients, basically. I don't want no more clients. It was too much to deal with. So I always look at like me losing that company as like, okay, that was a blessing. It helped me refocus because my PR agency now was one of those things we added to the branding agency. People wanted PR. So it's just like, you know what? I want to do something that's going to give me my time back where I can do it from anywhere. I don't have to deal with these clients every day gotta go into their salon and shoot their new hair extensions and do this stuff for social media. It was just like, yo, this is the moment that I gotta refocus. Like, I can't do everything. I was just trying to hustle money because I quit my job to start this. So I wasn't turning anything down. I was taking anything. You tell me you needed it, I was gonna figure out how to get your money and get the job done. Was it probably at the best? No, because I wasn't the specialist. I wasn't the expert. It was mediocre. And I had to come to the realization it's like, yo, you need to just do what you specialize in and not try to do all of these other things.
Yeah, that's a good one. I agree that this is also something we tend to get wrong. And it's actually surprising because this is not just true for individuals, it's also true for large corporations that commit that same mistake. It still happens when it's a branding mistake. It's when you dilute your brand, what you're known for, with activities that are outside your core, let's say customers that don't know you for, and then you basically crash you're actually destroying your brand. If you have one already, and if you don't, then you're just gonna get any attention at all because nobody can tell what you're good at. There's one really cool author I have mentioned before in other podcasts I did. It's a guy who already passed away. He's called Al Ries from Atlanta. His daughter Laura Ries, they wrote books about this focus marketing, which is this concept of doing less and getting more results, like not like cutting fat, as you would call it, and just focusing on your core, competence, right? And then letting people, and then so you make a name in only by being an expert on one thing and one thing only. So that's the idea, right?
So I think for me, like that realization kind of like was a mindset shift for me to be like, look, just do what you specialize in. Like, personal branding. Put your energy there. I was my first case study, right? So before I got into personal branding space, nobody didn't know me in this personal branding space because I was most known because I was in the music business, right? I was a signed musician for Epic Records when I was 18. So the problem was when I was going into this business and entrepreneurial thing, well, everybody only knew the guy that used to rap. They didn't take me serious in business. So this Barion McQueen thing was a whole new personal brand identity that I had to do. It took me 5 years worth of work to get to where I'm at.
So let me get this straight. So you basically rebranded yourself from being a rapper to a PR marketing strategist. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's awesome. It's really cool. It's an amazing transformation. It's you know what? This is why I love these podcasts, because I'm actually genuinely curious how other men did this, because it's to be an entrepreneur and to get to the point where you can confidently say, now I've mastered this. It's actually pretty hard to do. It's not easy at all. So it's really and then there's does not mean that there are not. There's this saying that a lot of ways lead to Rome, right? There's different ways to get to that place, but then there's also like truth, like there's essentials that you just cannot violate. They need to be. So talking about having a purpose, right? So how important do you think is your motivation? What drives you to get to the? So in this, I'm going to ask you directly, like personal. What is your besides? I mean, I guess your family is one, but besides your wife and your family, what is your mission here? What's your purpose? Because I think that is a essential part. And when people start just going into business because they want to make money, it's usually doomed to fail.
Yeah. I think for me, so like when I got into the personal branding space, because I was my first case study, I felt like I was somebody that used to hide behind the logo. I was just a business owner running a business. Nobody knew it was my business. I hid behind the logo, right? And when I started to come from behind the logo and start showing my face and doing a lot more on social media, I realized there was a lot more business owners that suffered from that same thing. Hey, I'm just going to do business, stand behind the logo. I don't need nobody to know it's my business. I just want to do good business and that's it. But when I started getting in front of the camera, it made doing business a lot easier because people buy from people. So I was a lot more personable. So when I saw success in my businesses by being on social media more, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, I just was putting my face everywhere. There's billboards with my face on it in Miami. I just wanted to get attention. To me was like the new currency. I'm building a brand that nobody knows. Nobody knows Barion McQueen. What do I got to do to get their attention? And it was this. It was just being vocal. I felt like I had to do this for other people. I guess people that probably did good business without doing any personal branding. When people can get into the story and people understand who you are, they're a lot more inclined to buy when it's a person or a faith attached to the brand.
I agree totally. Yeah. So basically what you're saying is that you experience the power of personal branding, using it on improving your own personal brand, and then you want to just help other people to achieve the same result.
100%. Like I would go before, right after COVID, I spoke on 100 stages in 2023, just basically sharing my story. But other people was like, man, Barion, you make that look easy. Maybe because you used to be in the music business, it's easy for you to get on stage. It's easy for you to just push the record button and get on, Instagram and do a live. But I'm scared, right? So I started to feel like I was like a therapist for these people, helping them work through just doing this, just getting on camera, right? So it wasn't like we never got to the PR part. We had to just get to can I get you to put content out? I have a client, she gained weight since college and she's scared to put her face out there because she gained a few pounds. And it's like, I had to dig so deep with these business owners to see, what's preventing them from putting their message out or educating their clients. And it was just their own insecurities about the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, oh my gosh, if I put myself out there, what is people going to say in the comment, whatever. So that so I just started doing that for people, helping them get over just put the content out, man. People need the information, give it to them. You the expert.
Yes. Yeah, you're right about that. And it's because it's a vulnerable thing to do, to put yourself out there, because there's a difference between having a logo and a brand that you operate it from behind, and then of course that the failure is also stinks, right? If you come, but when you put yourself out as a personal brand, it becomes personal, right? So now if something does not work, or you don't get just to give an example, I don't know, if you're not getting any views or clicks or impressions, it feels like a personal defeat. When in reality it's still just feedback. And there's it's just,
that's it.
I don't think, so, I agree also.
I think everybody is social media got everybody's mindset so skewed that they look at 100 likes and be like, oh, that wasn't a successful post. It's like, no, you reached 100 people. That's a big deal. Celebrate the small wins, because those small wins build momentum.
Yeah, this is a bias we all have because we tend to compare us with others instead of ourselves, and then it creates this. It's always someone who's a lot bigger than yourself, and then it's always this situation where you're small compared to other people. So yeah, it's a mistake. It's human nature, I guess. Human is our ego driving in the driving seat. Yeah. So again, it comes back to what we talked about at the beginning, that it's just about self-improvement, right? So it's a real, and then this also ties in what you said, it's therapy. It's sort of, I had the same experience because when I realized that after my loss of my company, then after, it took me a year and a half to sort of overcome the trauma, and then turning, and then I realized, okay, because it felt like a loss of identity because I was the CEO of that company and I always had like this image of myself and then when that was gone, I thought, okay, now who am I now? But then after a year and a half or two, I realized that, and when I started my newsletter, is that the entrepreneur is still there. It's just not, he failed, but it's not like I didn't really lose that. It's just that I had a crashed and burned, but does not mean that so that's something. And then so it's about overcoming that. It's this inner. It's like this realization of how fast you get up on your feet again, and then take it in, and then embrace it, and then whatever.
100%. Right? Like for me, I have a conversation with one of my guys. He's another entrepreneur named Kyle Dindy, and we just had a conversation. And he's like, "Yo, Barry, you got to look at those losses as lessons, right? What lessons did you learn from that,
yeah.
Right?" But then at the same time, he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Yo, the really good entrepreneurs that are good entrepreneurs, they can fail and rebuild like it's nothing." So when you look at that, like, oh man, yeah, I lost the company, but the real good ones can bounce back and they could come with a whole nother idea in a whole nother niche in a whole nother industry and still dominate because there was still some lessons that was learned in the loss.
There's one guy I interviewed not long ago from Australia, just a few podcasts, like 2-3 weeks ago. His name is Lewis Huxton, pretty big persona, coach on Instagram, 500,000 followers. And he put it beautifully. He said, the wound becomes your purpose. The wound becomes your purpose. And I don't forget this because it's so true. Yeah. You can use that as fuel. And then another good way to put it is when you hit rock bottom, right? Then you have very solid ground to build something new upon, right? So because now rock is solid ground to something that's not shaky, right? Now it's solid ground. You can build something new on that new rock bottom solid. Yeah, that's the kind of stories I like. Again, we need more of that in too negative world sometimes, right? Yeah. So this message is...
When I was in Florida suffers from a lot of lifestyle marketing, right? Miami is just a place where they sell lifestyle. So every entrepreneur is headed to Miami. They're trying to get to Miami because that's like the sign of like, oh, I made it. Everybody goes to Miami. They go rent a Lamborghini. They go do a yacht day. And they sell this lifestyle of entrepreneurship. And then grinds in my gears because it's so much false hope that's sold to people about this is what entrepreneurship is these things that come with entrepreneurship. And I'm just like, oh, but they prey on those type people using lifestyle marketing, right? It's the fear of missing out on something that gets people to buy in.
Yeah.
Hence why I'm not in Miami. I bought another house in New York. It's upstate New York. It's quiet. It's a small town. Nobody. It's like my pace of peace over here.
Yeah, but the weather sucks.
Well, it was 73 today, so I was okay.
Okay.
The winter was...
Miami. I know Miami. I've been there, and I agree. I think it's the Ocean Drive is the one place where where I've seen the biggest amount of supercars in one single setting. Like I've never seen so many as many Ferraris and spectacular vehicles as in this place. It's also very expensive, right, compared to other places. Yeah, appearances above all, right? So it's a lot about appearances.
Yeah, I can guarantee 80% of those cars we saw were rented.
Okay. Didn't know that one, but it makes sense. Yeah. So Barion, what would you, for the audience, let's say we have listeners who haven't taken the leap of faith into entrepreneurship, maybe low on funds or investments. So what would be your recommendation to those folks?
I think
how to start.
So I think that's the biggest thing is just start. Like most people get in their own way of even just getting to the starting point. So when I be speaking on stage sometimes, and I always use this term called fear, and I created my own acronym for fear, and it was finding excuses and reasons, right? People will find excuses and reasons why they can't start, won't start. And then I broke fear down into a couple of different categories. I broke it down into the fear of failure as one, the fear of judgment. And then I recently added that I feel like sometimes the fear of success psychs people out of starting, right? What if this actually works? What I'm thinking in my mind. And they talk themselves out of it. Most people, because I'm in this entrepreneurship space, they think I'm against having a 9-to-5. They think I'm like so against people having a job and all of these things. And I'm not. It just didn't work for me. But I encourage people, if you're going to go and work 8 hours for somebody from 9 to 5, and you don't go home and start working on your own thing from 5 to 9, shame on you.
Yeah.
So dedicate some time to your dreams and your goals.
Yeah, and there's ways to mitigate. There's different ways to mitigate the risks of. I mean, you could, as you just laid out, you could have your job. You don't have to like burn the bridges right away. You could start it as a side hustle, and then when you get some momentum and when you get some traction, then you cut your ties to whatever you want to. But
I didn't start my. I didn't start my branding agency until I was making the same amount of money I was making at my job, and then I.
Probably a smart choice.
So what the number was. Yeah, my job was paying me $60,000 a year. After taxes, that broke down to $190 a day. So that was the number when I was doing this entrepreneurship thing, that when I finally left my job, I just needed to make $190 a day to keep up with what I was making at work. And that was my number, $190. Okay, $190 a day. If I can do that, I could still make 60 grand a year. And it just gave.
That's a really cool.
It just gave me a fuel to be like, okay, that's my target right there. 190. And then when I started seeing, I could do one real estate shoot and that paid me $250. I only worked 1 hour and I made my 190 for the day. I'm good.
I love that. That's the super. I love that for 3 reasons. First, it's simple. Everyone can just break it down that way. So it's not complicated. You can just make it like and also it focuses on the now. It makes that, because people get stuck in past and future and not really focusing what they can control right now. And it's memorable, meaning that you can. What I do, for example, in order to get my priorities straight, is that it's a tool. I use Notion, and then I have my dashboard then I always make sure that my next goal is visible here, right? And it doesn't have to be a number. It can be, for example, right now for me is getting insane results for my clients with my ghostwriting and marketing agency. Okay. And so I don't, basically, to avoid that trap we talked about earlier, which is starting other things that have nothing to do with my immediate priority, right, which is getting insane results for my, you know what I mean? So you don't get distracted, and it does the job to focus, which is something you brought up also earlier. The focus thing is that, like, in the morning you evaluate what's actually on your plate and what should get the attention, and so that's I really love the way you put that.
What I started doing is, because people used to ask me to do like consultations, and I didn't like doing them, but I assigned a dollar amount to what my time was worth, right? So I came up with this amount that $300 was my like sit down consultation fee, right? So that's for 30 minutes of my time. Somebody want to call and pick my brain and ask me some PR stuff, some marketing stuff, some SEO. They got to do the sit down. Once I started adding a dollar amount to what my time was worth, well, I stopped letting a lot of people waste my time, because people will waste your time. And then I just started to just only do that were dollar productive. If it's not dollar productive, I don't want to just be doing emails and doing things that are not dollar productive. Like, I'll give that to a team member, a VA. outsource. Like, I don't want to do non-dollar productive stuff at this point in my career.
Yeah, because you can assign a value to all of it, everything you do. Now, I'm not saying that you should assign to, for example, if you told me now that, why are you like talking about doing podcast? For me right now, I don't even need to get money for this, because I get an emotional reward for it's for me. This is I don't see this as a job or something I have to do. It's because it's more like I get to talk to people that are like-minded, that have also had similar experiences, and I'm learning as I move forward. I can because for me this is not just content; it's just me getting better at what I do, because now I'm learning from the people that have also similar goals and aligned with their values, and that's in itself already a reward. I don't need money. I mean, I do get money for it, but I don't need them. It wouldn't be a prerequisite, right? But it makes sense to from an entrepreneurial standpoint perspective. It does make sense to assign clear value to all of the things that we actually do, right?
Absolutely.
So we spend time on it.
Yeah. So that was for me.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, that person gonna waste my time. They just took $300, right? So once I see that number, I'm like, oh no, I'm not gonna let this person take $300 from me. Nope.
It's like, it sounded like a vampire, like suck my leads.
The problem is, the problem with when we be in this information age, right, where everybody could go on YouTube and find some information and do all of these things. Like, people always ask me, Barion, you give away so much stuff for free. Why would anybody buy it from somebody else? And I was like, regardless if I'm giving it for free or they're buying it from somebody else, they still got to take action, and most people won't. Yeah. I got people who have bought my books, and I bet you they've never read them.
Yeah. And sometimes they even read them and still don't implement. That's why a lot of successful entrepreneurs, what they do is they give all the information for free and only charge implementation.
That's it.
It's really that's it. I totally agree. Still, the action. This is why an idea. It doesn't even matter if it's a fucking $1 billion idea. They're just not worth that much, because unless you actually put the work in to implement that shit, then it's not worth anything, right? It's just an idea. That's why I laugh at people that would come up with these elaborate business ideas and then want to sign a NDA on something they haven't even started. It makes no sense at all. Like,
they're like, this is going to be a $1 million evaluation I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. And so, action is the ability to shape or to create, let's say, daily habit structure routines that allow you to get where you want. That's the real challenge, because it's the only thing that involves you not being lazy, you overcoming your resistance, you having the guts and the courage to actually doing what you're saying. And that's really the real challenge behind all of it.
I think that's why my wife thinks I'm addicted to starting businesses, right? So like, I'll have an idea, and because of my experience with doing all of these things in marketing, I'd have a website up in 24 hours. I'm working on the SEO. I'm doing all of these things, but I always challenge anybody, if you don't know what you want to do yet, take a little marketing class. Take a little something because if you learn something from marketing, whether it's digital, whether it's social, whether it's SEO, you're going to always be able to use it, whether you go on to your next business. And I think that's one of the things that has helped me be successful is I started in marketing, right? So it didn't matter what other industry I went into. I still understood how to get eyeballs on the product, right? Whether it's paid advertisement, whether it's organic traffic. Because I have that basic skill set, it don't matter which industry I go in. I know I can have some success.
Yeah, human psychology, right? At the end of the day, it's all about that. Hey, this was actually a super conversation. I really enjoyed this. I think we should. It's best to leave it when we're at its peak point. So it's so people can come back for more. I do appreciate a lot your time, and I really want to thank you for joining my show here.
I'm grateful.
And just before we end it, would you like to tell the audience how to get in touch with you and your company? And how to find you?
Yeah, if you want to find me personally, you can find me at barionmcqueen.com. It's BARION Last name McQueen, McQueen. I'm the owner of Big Reach PR. You can find us any PR needs you need. You want to get on TV, you want to get on podcasts, you want to get on the news in your local town. We have Big Reach for a reason, so that's bigreachpr.com. And thank you for having me. I'm super grateful when I can sit and have these conversations with other like-minded people all the time. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Have a great one, and yeah, talk to you soon, man. Bye-bye.
Thank you.